Good evening, everyone. Hashem should bless all of you. Bracha, v'haslacha, briyut, yishuot gdolot, nisim niflaot, be'ezrat Hashem yitbarach. Our close, my student Ephraim Ben Gabriel, Hashem should bless him, be'ezrat Hashem. B'bracha, v'haslacha, yishuot gdolot. He making today Saudat Hoda'ah. This is Saudah of to thank to Hashem. We could speak many subjects, but I will gonna specific take a couple of subjects for a couple of minutes, and then my son will continue. First of all, Ephraim, you know, the appreciation. When the person knows to appreciate what Hashem does to him, no matter what coming to your life, you're not complaining. You're not saying, oh, I wanted this. It didn't happen. Where is Hashem? You're not saying that. You're saying, whatever I have, I appreciate. And sometimes if Hashem giving me sign, I'll also appreciate. Plus, I will make a Saudah, I make a meal of appreciation. That called real Jew, real Yehudi, real Israel, following Torah mitzvot. That person consider every single mitzvah Kedusha and Tahara. Only because he know how to appreciate. Every single person, even non-Jew, when he doesn't know how to appreciate, it's a big problem. It's a very enormous problem. First of all, if you don't appreciate, you don't believe to Hashem. I'm really meaning by that. You don't appreciate Hashem. You don't believe Hashem. You don't have fear of Hashem. You don't have it. You don't have fear of Hashem. I'm keep Shabbat, but I'm putting tefillin. Doesn't matter. You still doesn't have your mitzvot. It's not complete. It's not full mitzvah. If you believe Hashem, you never complain. Even you complain, you will not take into consideration by saying, but why it's like that? You might say why for yourself, but you will not go against Chachamim. You will not go against sages. You will not go against the Torah. You will not get crazy. The way I was read yesterday, last week, Parashat Re'eh, Parashat of Luke. Look, I'm giving you life, and I don't want to say what. I'm giving you good, and you know what second one. And you choose the life. And Hashem saying in that parasha himself, I'm going to test you. Hashem saying from his own word, I'm going to test you, please. You should know, I sending that person, that test, that situation. Do you know why I'm doing that? It's not my word, it's not the Torah. You know why I'm doing that? I want to see if you love me. I want to see if you love me. I want to see if you're still with me. I want to see if you continuously believe me. I want to see if you continuously saying Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. I want to see if you continuously getting up in the morning praying and saying Torah and Moshe Emet. Or you're going to say, oh, I wanted Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, A, B, C, E, F, G. It didn't work out. If this case, that's it. It's not for me. And you're a businessman. You're not Jew. You're not Jew. And beside that, you will ask, you hear a lot. You learn a lot. You understand a lot. I told you the most an answer for this is answer Rosh Hashanah. Remember that, guys? Huh? The 2 days of the judgment, and why is like that? I just don't go to repeat this again and again. Okay, there is strict judgment and the mercy day, the mercy time. That's the reason we have 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, which not everybody even put attention for that. All our reward, what we're looking for, Be'ezrat Hashem, is in the Olam Haba. And Olam Haba is not the world of it's not when the soul going to Olam Haba. That's called Olam Neshamot. Olam Haba is a resurrection. It's Chet HaMitim, when the dead people gonna get up. That's called Olam Haba. It's a matter of study. Now I start with this. I just gonna say a couple of words and I will finish with it, Hashem. I don't understand. With this gentleman, Hashem Yivarech Oto, he told me he was in a group of Kahana and Meir Kahana. I don't know if maybe some of you familiar with that or not familiar with that. Well, he Hashem took him. I don't want to say those words because of the evil people. He was a very strong man, and he didn't escape from nothing. He was ready to sacrifice himself to Hashem. No question. No question. That's really Jews supposed to be. Now, why I brought that, I will tell you. I want you to understand one thing. Most of you, which are learning the shiur with my son, Rabbi Shalom, Rabbi Asher, sometimes with me, my shiur mostly in Tav Mincha of Shabbat Kodesh. That's more main time, my time. And we're learning, we're explaining, we're telling you the real study have to be when you learn the Pnimiyut Torah, when you learn the inside of the Torah, when you learn the, I don't want to say that word, but I have to say it, the Kabbalistic way. When I say Kabbalistic way, you're going to say, oh, there are too many Kabbalistic in the world. There's many Kabbalistic in the place also. It's true. Some of them groups come out and they disappoint us more or less. But Hashem, we're going to also pray for them. They're Jews. Should be choser b'tshuva. But you have to know. You want, you don't know. I mean, you want, you don't want. You have to know. If you're not going to be interested, the secret and the significance of Aleph Bet, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's just to pray and read, and you know what he's saying. You have to know what does Aleph Bet mean. You have to know what the significance of those words would be. You have to know when I pray, when I say, what does it mean, what's happening. You have to know how to connect yourself. Holocaust, exile, problems, it's only because we doesn't connect ourselves to real thing. That's the thing. And this place, in this small place, for so many years we are with us. We're trying to this place should grow and grow and more. And B'ezrat Hashem, I told you, it's going to be B'ezrat Hashem, Sefer Torah. We're trying to ask people to help us out. And B'ezrat Hashem, our own place. I'm praying for this day and night, and many rabbis in Israel, they're with me. They're pushing me for that. And they said, whatever we do, many people doesn't do that. Not because, I mean, they doesn't want, or maybe they have lack of understanding, or they doesn't want to just this to be revealed because they're thinking people not ready for it. But we know it's really no time for it. I think people ready. It's not necessarily to make a revelation. Those teachings not necessarily. There is simple things that's possible to teach and explain how to people to make themselves connected to the Torah in the Tefillah or Mitzvah, because we live by that. You live with the Shacharit Mincha Arvit. True or not? You live by the Shacharit Mincha Arvit. You live by the Kiddush Shema Alabita. You live by this Tikkun Chatzot. You live that Birkat Hamazon. You live that by learning, studying Torah. How you connect yourself? Are you doing proper thing or not? It's a simple thing. There's much more deeper things, and these things we have to learn and study, and to make revelation on that in the world, that people should know that there is a place called Kehilat Lashem, which want that revelation should come out all over the place. How much is possible to do it? That if I gonna try to make, let's say, Alexander's son like a rabbi, let's say you want to be a rabbi. Possibility, no? Let's say you make him a rabbi, or anyone else want to be a rabbi, that you should know. When you're gonna make shalom bayit, a family, specific families, you should know what you're doing it. Or opposite. That you should know in your mitzvah you do, what's happening in the heaven. When you put tefillin on, you should know what's happening in the heaven. When you hold etrog and lulav in your hands, you should know what you're doing it. That's the real Jew. That's the real learning. That's the real tzaddik. That's the real understanding. And that our revelation in our place in Lashem. With Rabbi Shalom, Rabbi Asha, and me, how much is possible doing it. So we are gonna pray to all of you, B'ez Hashem, Kol Yishod, Kol Brachot, Kol Aslachot, B'ez Hashem Barach. And we should be appreciate to Hashem every single thing and not complain. Don't complain. Never complain. Always say, Hodu Hashem Kito Ki Ramazdo. Whoever complain, it's a big problem, which means you have to work on yourself a lot. Sometimes Yetzirah come to you, but to go sometime against the Rabbi Chas Shalom or against the Torah Chas Shalom because you're thinking, because it didn't happen for everyone, it's a bad thing. We have to work on ourselves. We are specific people. We are like getting the water in the wall. Banim atem Hashem Elokechem. We are children chosen for Hashem. We are special people. We have to show the world who we are. B'ezrat Hashem should be Geula Krova. B'ezrat Hashem, B'ezrat Hashem Barach. Should be Nisim Niflot, Kol Yishod, Kol Am Yisrael Hetzo Namar.
All right, Rabbi Sai, we are in our Monday night shiur. I have a couple of interesting things to share with you guys before Abraham. I know it's been a while since you've been here, but let's try to.
Be careful.
Yeah. Welcome to our Monday night shiur. Once again, our shiur is sponsored Sudat Hodaya by Ephraim Ben Gabriel. As a thank you to Hashem for all the good that Hashem has done for him and will continue to do to him.
Amen.
And Hashem yimaleh kol mi sherot libcha letova v'libracha. I want to say a couple of interesting things today from the Shara Psukim of the Ari HaKadosh, regarding this week's parasha. It's going to be a bit weird things. And I know we have special guests over here, but let's try to keep it, no, you're the special guest, Rabbi. Yeah, you.
You never met on Monday.
For the Monday nights, yeah. So let's try to keep it civil. And we're gonna learn very interesting stuff. Anything that I'm saying today is from the Ari HaKadosh. It's not my words. Okay? Not everything I'm gonna say today people know. So therefore, it might come as a surprise.
Buckle up.
Okay.
You'll know, Ricky.
You'll know. We'll know in a minute if you knew.
If you know or not.
So, I want to start with a pasuk in the Mishlei. Mishlei Proverbs was written by Shlomo HaMelech, a very controversial figure inside the Tanakh. The Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin that there are certain kings that have no chelek le'olam haba, according to the Tanna Kama and the Mishnah. One of them was a very big Rasha called Achav HaMelech. He has no chelek le'olam haba, says the Gemara. He was a very big Rasha. And even though he was a very big Rasha, Achav HaMelech, when the king of Aram, Assyria, told him, give me your Sefer Torah. He said, give me your wife. He said, she's yours. He said, give me your money. He said, give me your kids. It's yours. He said, give me whatever you love the most. He was a Rasha Merusha. He started to cry and go crazy. Rashi says, why did he go crazy? He asked him to give him a Sefer Torah. Because a king is supposed to have a Sefer Torah tied to his right hand. There's a machloket. Does he have the whole Torah tied to his right hand like tefillin? Or just the parasha? No, they made it very small. They used to make it very, very small. It's a machloket in the poskim. I think the Tosfot says it was just the parasha. This week's parasha, but you have to have a king, and he has to write the Torah, and he has to not have ga'ava. Mamash this week's parasha. So when Achav, who has no chelek olam haba, when he heard by the king of Aram that he wants whatever he loves the most, which is his Sefer Torah on his right hand, he said, I'm going to war with this guy. For this, a wife he could take, kids he could take, everything he could take, but my Sefer Torah, and he has no chelek olam haba.
Why?
He was a big Rasha.
No, why did he go to war?
Why did he go to war? For territory.
Wait,
that's the pshat.
Was there Rasha by the Sefer Torah?
Yes. Even Rishaim back then, they used to learn Torah. Believe it or not.
No comments. Just
Now,
listen.
the second king that has no chelek olam haba is the king Menashe. Menashe was the son of Chizkiyahu HaMelech. He was a very big Rasha, says the Gemara. He introduced a avodah zarah called Gei Ben Hinnom. We even get the word Gehenom, hell, in the Hebrew we say Gehenom. But that really, it's not the real word for hell. It's called Gei Ben Hinnom. There was a valley in Yerushalayim called Gei Ben Hinnom. And in that valley, they used to sacrifice children. Menashe introduced this to Klal Yisrael. He was the one who introduced it. He was so bad, the Gemara says, that in his time, God decreed the destruction of Israel. The destruction of the Beit HaMikdash was decreed in his time. But interestingly speaking, he has no Cherech Ramavah, but the Ramchal writes, the head of the Baalei Tshuva. There's a yeshiva in Shamayim for Baalei Tshuva.
Menashe.
Who's the Rosh Yeshiva over there? Menashe. But Olam Haba he doesn't have, says the Gemara. But he's the head of the Baalei Tshuva in Shamayim. He did Tshuva at the end. He ruled for 52 years. The longest, more than David he ruled, more than Shlomo he ruled. 52 years. His son also was a big Rasha, but he does have Olam Haba. When I say Olam Haba, guys, what am I talking about? Tchiyat HaMetim. Talking about Tchiyat HaMetim. I'm not talking about Gan Eden. I'm talking about Tchiyat HaMetim. Sometimes even the Tshuva cannot help for Tchiyat HaMetim. That's the pshat. But there is a machloket in the Gemara. I want to get to a certain point. Rav Yehuda says that they do have Olam Haba. Rav Yehuda says that. Alright? Rav Yehuda is quoting Rav Yehuda Bar Ilai in the Mishnah. The Gemara says when the rabbis were putting together the Mishnah, the Chachamim, they wanted to add one more person to this list of no Olam Haba, and that was Shlomo HaMelech.
1 second. What is 52 years? What do you mean by that?
He was the king over Israel for 52 years.
What did he achieve?
What?
What did he achieve?
What did he achieve? I mean, I didn't even tell you the whole history of Menashe.
Ask. Don't be.
When you say he ruled
Yes.
52 years,
Yeah.
you mean what by rule?
He was a king.
When you rule,
Let's say like a prime minister. Yeah, like a king, prime minister. He was considered the scion of King David. Everything. He was president, prime minister.
including?
What?
Of
Of course. He introduced one Avodah Zarah inside Klal Yisrael. He was a very big Rasha that needed sacrifice of almost 100 men a day. Almost 100 men a day. You can understand why Hashem decreed the destruction of Yerushalayim in his time. But he did tshuva at the end. What happened? Long story short, he already brought it up. He was taken hostage by the king of Egypt, Paro. Different Paro. All the kings of Egypt are called Paro. He took Menashe, he put him in an iron box. Like, we make Oshton. He put him inside in a dig. Under that, he put coals and he lighted up.
How they do now?
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
arcs that have the same.
And Menashe starts to pray. What is he going to do over there? He starts to pray. The God of fire, the God of Gei Ben Hinnom. He prays to everything. Lo olech. The Gemara says, at the end, he's like, listen, why don't I try praying to the God of my father, Chizkiyahu? He starts to yell, the God of Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Aneni. It's in Divrei and Chronicles. It writes down his davening, by the way. His prayer is written down over there.
He said, if you are real, show yourself.
Yes. And then the angels said,
Stop.
we don't want to accept this guy. They told Hashem, lock the gates. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in the Gemara, Hashem said, I'm going to make a new window in heaven just to take his prayer. And he saved his life.
That's the part of Tshuva.
And that's when he did Teshuvah. But because he made Hashem, Kabuta B, put Hashem in a corner, quote unquote. And he said, if you are the real, that's not considered in that level who he was. Like, you're not allowed to talk to God like that. If you're the real God, show me what you got. You can't say such things. You understand? So he said it. But I want to get to a different point. So the fourth king that was supposed to be on this list was Shlomo HaMelech. To have no Olam Haba. The Gemara says that Shlomo HaMelech had 1,000 wives. The Torah says this week's parasha specifically a king is not allowed to have more than a certain amount of wives. Lo yarbe lo nashim. What does that mean, lo yarbe lo nashim? You're not allowed to have more than 18 wives, say the Gemara. 18. That's a lot. Today you can only have one. Lo yarbe lo nashim. Shlomo, we explained this before in the name of the Ari, wanted to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu. By marrying all the princesses in the world, he wanted to convert them And when the queen of that country converts, everybody's going to know what God is or who God is, and then they're going to want to be Jewish. What happened? He had no control over them. And they started to open up houses of worship to their gods in Yerushalayim. He didn't do any Avera, Shlomo. Chas v'shalom. He didn't do anything. But he knew about it, but he had no control over it. You can't control one wife, you can control 1,000 wives. Each one of them, and you have to be diplomatic too. If he throws them home, he's going to have a war with that country now. He throws this one home, he's going to have a war with this country. You have to be diplomatic. They put the poison in Yerushalayim. So who was the first poison? After David HaMelech was king, he rid Israel of all the Avodah Zarah. He cleaned everything out. Even Shaul cleaned them out. Shaul cleaned them out from all the witchcraft. David cleaned them out from all the Avodah Zarah. Who brought it back in?
The wife.
Shlomo HaMelech.
Him or is the wives?
Well, he's responsible.
What the wife said.
Right? Because he put that in, they wanted to take him off the list of the kings that have Olam Haba. They wanted to erase. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, till a fire came from Shamayim. It's a mashal, but let's say the mashal. A fire comes up from Shamayim and wants to burn the Sanhedrin. Because don't you guys dare talk about Shlomo Bechiri. Shlomo, my chosen one. He's Mashiach. He's the original Mashiach ben David. Because he's the son of David. So he's the original Mashiach. Right? He was anointed. Usually kings are not anointed. He was anointed because there was a machloket who's going to be the next successor. So Shlomo HaMelech, when he becomes king, at one point he goes into exile. For about 10-15 years he wasn't even king. Nobody knew who he was. He was a traveling juggler. He was like a clown, yeah. Yeah. When the Shindalet killed him. Yeah, the Shindalet kicks him out and he becomes just a wanderer. Why was he a wanderer? Out of all of his 1,000 wives, none of them was his real soulmate. To find his real bat zug, he had to go into exile, be a waiter in the palace of the king of Ammon. And over there, the princess, Naamah Ammonit, wants to marry this guy. And the king banishes her with him, and then he finds his real bat zug. Out of all of his 1,000 wives, none of the kids survived, except one. From that from when he was married to Naamah Ammonit. Could you imagine to find you marry 1,000 wives? You think they're your bat zug? He has to find one in exile just to find the real one. So you think you know what you're doing, but you don't really know what you're doing. So Shlomo HaMelech said, when he comes back, he writes this book called Mishlei. This book is very dear to me. This is the first book of Tanakh that I finished besides for Chumash. This was the first one that I ever finished in my life. I was in Kollel, and we said we were going to finish the whole Tanakh once a year. So each one of us picked a book to finish with Rashi, not just read the book. You have to finish it with Rashi. Everyone started, they never finished. I opened it, I couldn't close it. I didn't open up the Beit Yosef. It was so interesting to me because you grow up in yeshiva 12 years. They don't teach you Tanakh. They don't teach you your Torah. You need a kritmach, a missionary, to come to you and tell you what Isaiah says. And you're a Jew. This is your navi. You don't even know what to answer him back. It's a busha. And if chas v'shalom you open one in a yeshiva, you're looked at as a crazy guy. Every Yehudi must finish the 24 books of the Torah at least a couple of times in his life. At least. It's unbelievable. There's 24 books. Besides for the 5 books of Moshe, there's the prophets and there's the Ketuvim, the writings. Now in this Ketuvim, Tehillim is by the way one of the Ketuvim. Tehillim. And this Mishlei, Shlomo HaMelech, he wrote this after he came back from the exile. After he came back, he wrote Proverbs. Right? He writes something interesting over here, and I want to explain it to you guys today, and I'm going to connect it to what the Ari HaKadosh says in Parshat Shoftim. He says, chapter 24 books, chapter 24. Al te'erov rasha, what? The rasha, al te'erov rasha. Al te'erov rasha linve tzaddik. Shlomo is talking to a rasha, and he's saying to him, don't look at the tzaddik when he falls. When you see a guy who's a tzaddik and he loses everything, don't wait by the corner to grab what he has. Don't wait don't be a rasha and wait for somebody's low point, misfortune to grab what he has. Don't live off somebody's misfortune.
What does that mean exactly?
Al tishaded rifzo. Don't crouch on his belongings. Shlomo says there are many, when you're a tzaddik, you have many enemies. How come this guy, his kids are tzaddikim? How come this guy is successful in his parnasah? How did he raise such a family? All these people that are waiting for your misfortune
All the haters.
to make themselves feel good. And then when he falls, oh chaval, but inside, Baruch Hashem, I'm not the only one down there. I have to also pick myself up some way. Shlomo says, Al te'erov rashalim v'tzadik. Don't wait by the tzaddik's downfall. Al tishaded rifzo. Don't crouch on what he has, on his belongings. Why? And this is the golden sentence. This sentence, Rav Yisrael Salanter used to say this every day. Ki sheva yipol tzaddik v'kam. A tzaddik falls 7 times and he gets up every single time. So don't wait till he falls. He's going to get up. A tzaddik always gets up. Ki sheva yipol tzaddik. 7 times a tzaddik falls. You're waiting for his fall. Don't wait. Because you know by the time you're going to come, he's going to get up. Ki sheva yipol tzaddik v'kam. Urishayim, but a rasha, yikashlu bera'ah. They stay in their misery. The rasha, when he falls, yeah. And he's always waiting for the tzaddik to fall. And every time he sees the tzaddik get up again, he stays in his rishut. He doesn't learn from the tzaddik's getting up. He sees the tzaddik get up, for him it's bad still. He doesn't learn from the tzaddik. Why? What is the meaning of this pasuk? Very deep meanings. Dari has a lot to say about these 2 pasukim. Dari teaches us the one part of your body, the one part, that it's the most important part.
Sure.
Because it's the part that makes you like Hashem.
Give life.
What's the power of HaKadosh Baruch Hu?
To give life.
He made life. You only have one part in your body that could create life, Avraham. You're tzaddik. That's a key word. You're tzaddik. You're yesod. You're Yosef tzaddik. The yesod is very interesting out of all the parts of your body. The eyes, as long as this is open, works. Hand always works. Legs always works. Feet always works. Heart, if it stops beating, shalom al Yisrael. The brain, you're going to be a vegetable if it doesn't work. But for some reason, the part of you that creates life cannot work continuously. Sheva yipol. It gets down and it gets up. Why did Hashem make it like that? Why did Hashem make it like that? The only being in this world, number 1, that could create life continuously is Hashem. If Hashem, it says in the Midrash, he said, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. When God said that sentence, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz, that's it, he said it. Says the Midrash that this sentence that he said keeps on going. It doesn't stop. Every day just keeps on going. And we all get our life from that sentence that he said, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. But we're not like Hashem. We cannot create life continuously. We cannot. We were supposed to be like that. When did we stop being like that? When Adam Harishon mixed another Adam inside of him. There were 2 Adams. There is Adam Harishon, then there is Adam Bilial. Adam Bilial is the evil man, the opposite of the Adam Harishon, the good one. When he fused with him, what was the chet? What was it? What did the Nachash want? He wanted the tzaddik. He wanted the power to create life. That's what he wanted. The Nachash, look inside the Torah, he doesn't have a bat-zug. He doesn't have one. It's dead. The Nachash doesn't have the power to create. Where did the Nachash get the power to create? From us. Every time the tzaddik falls, the Rasha is waiting to catch Rifzo, to catch it. Where does he get it from? From you. Says Rabbi Yehuda Shalom Gadaev in Sabbath Mishpatim, Matuk LaNefesh. All the goyim in the world are created from your tzaddik falling. What's the answer? Sheva yipol tzaddik v'kam. What's v'kam? If he falls, why is he a tzaddik? He's not a tzaddik if he falls. Because the tzaddik is not the fact if he fall or not. Don't waste your time trying to be perfect. Don't waste your time trying to be real. You know what our problem is? We're always running to be religious. Religion. Islam is a religion. Kriyat Mach is a religion. Judaism is not a religion. You know that? You can't be born Islam. You cannot be. You're not born Islam. You have to become. You have to accept it upon yourself. You can't be born a Notzri. They got to put you in that holy in the. What did I say? It's called. They got to baptize the kid. But a Jew, even if he doesn't have a brit milah, guess what? He's Jewish. How? It's a religion. It's not a religion. Judaism is not a religion. Judaism is spirituality. But we waste our time trying to be more religious than the other guy. So the guy becomes religious, and suddenly he hears he has to daven nets every day. And everybody else who doesn't daven nets, he's not as good as me. Because he's not as religious. But that's not Judaism. He sheva yipol tzaddik, that tzaddik falls, v'kam. You know when he gets up? He takes somebody up with him. Avraham Avinu goes down to Gehenom. Why? But he has nothing better to do. You know how bad that place smells? You think he has to go down to Gehenom? Why does Avraham Avinu go down to Gehenom? To pick him up, to pick the people up. Any Jew, says the Gemara Masechet Eruvin, that wasn't with a Goya, Avraham Avinu saves him from Gehenom. It's the one thing that a person could save himself from Gehenom. Two things. Number one, never be with a Goya. Never. If you do that, it's a sure ticket to get out of Gehenom. No Kaddish, this, that. Kaddish is very nice. You know what Kaddish is? It's like a person, he's sick, and he takes an Advil. He takes away the symptoms, but he doesn't take away the actual disease. That's Kaddish. It's like you're giving the guy, the neshama, a pill to take away the pain. But how do you take him out of Gehenom? Says the Gemara Masechet Eruvin, any Jew that was never with a Goya in his life, his Brit Kodesh, his tzaddik, is when he goes in Shamayim, is always v'kam. That's why they said, Od Yosef. Why is he chai? Because he wasn't with the Goya. Od Yosef chai. And when he's chai, hu moshel b'chol eretz Mitzrayim. He rules the whole Mitzrayim. Why Mitzrayim? Why not America? Because Mitzrayim, that's where all the znut and garbage is. And he ruled it all. Everything he won. He won every beat there. Why? But do you know that Yosef HaTzadik, the tipot came out of him? It did come out of him. It came out. How is he considered tzaddik? Do you know for every tipah that came out of him, he had to be 1 year in jail? He was how many years in jail? 12. But really how many years he was supposed to be in there? 10. After 10 years, that was with the story with the butler and the baker. Then Hashem said, oh, you relied on these two shlomazels? Another 2 years. To be mechaper and the shlomazels. Another 2 years. That means for every tipah that came out of him, it didn't come out of his fingers. It's just a lashon nikiyah. It came out of him, mamash. So why do they say he's Yosef HaTzadik? Because the second that it came out, it already came out. Yeah, let's just do the Avera already. It already happened. He didn't say that. Sheva yipol tzaddik v'kam. It says v'yavo habayta lasot melachto. He was ready to do his work. What work is he taught? What work he had that day? He had no work. He meant to do that. Says the Gemara, he was meant to do the work. That's it. He was done already. 1 year he was going crazy. But he went Sheva yipol tzaddik. He fell in the jail. V'kam. He got up. That's why he's a tzaddik. But a rasha. U'reshaim yikashlu bera'ah. When they fall in the ra, they stay down. I fell already. Why I say this? I'm going to teach you something now from Dari. It's nogea for all of our shorish neshama. Remember, what did we learn right now? A tzaddik always gets up. No matter what. On the last day of his life, he could be the biggest rasha. He's his one last breath left, he's v'kam. He's a tzaddik. Tzaddik always gets up. Always. That's for the tzaddik. The Gemara says, why was the Beit HaMikdash destroyed? So it says 4 reasons. One of them is because they didn't judge correctly. Let's say an almana, a widow, would come to the judge and she owes the guy money. The judge would right away make the psak halacha, you owe him the money. She has no money to pay. He wouldn't say, have mercy on the woman. You know, don't take the money. They would,
It was too much deen.
deen, strict judgment. But it was judgment, it's halacha, you gotta follow religion, once again. Just strict, dry, cut, turkey. Then the Gemara says another reason why. Ki adam, the whole Yerushalayim, they said, we have a halacha, if somebody kills somebody by mistake, you gotta go to a city of refuge, right? Do you know in the second temple they canceled them? Why? Why'd they cancel that? Everybody was killing each other. You ever read Josephus? Don't read it. But if you ever read it, in the Beit HaMikdash, people would daven, they were called sikari. Sikari from the word sakin. They used to have small daggers. In the middle of Shmona Esrei, the guy would come, kill him, and run out of the Beit HaMikdash. Like this, the whole Beit HaMikdash filled with blood.
Why?
Murderers, assassins, in Yerushalayim. Yehudim, only Yehudim. Politics, power. Right?
They took the
The Gemara says another reason. The Gemara says, there's a mitzvah called sota, right? They said if a guy chas v'shalom does an avera with a married woman, and their husband suspects it, and there are two witnesses, he says, don't do it, don't be alone with this guy. She does it anyways. They didn't see the avera. They would have based on she drinks the special water with Hashem's name erased in it. She drinks it, and if she's guilty, Kaddish al Israel. By the way, not only does she die, also he dies as well. The guy who she did the avera with. כמו שהמייסודה בודקים אותה, כן בודקים אותה. How come they cancel it at the second base of Mikdash? They cancel it.
Because the man was doing it.
You know why? Every other person was coming every other day to drink the waters of Sotah. It was crazy. Everybody was drinking Sotah water. The whole Yerushalayim. And there were tzaddikim back then. There were Tanaim, Amoraim. Well, before them, but you guys get the point. They were big tzaddikim. So, do we need a reason, Avraham, why there was a Khorban? But yet, out of all the reasons that the Gemara says, until today, how many years we've been here? How many years did we count this Shabbat? 1,950? No? 55, 56, 57. 55 we counted. 1,955. Remember, the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed 68 CE. So you take the year 2023 minus 68, that's how many years? That's the formula. Alright? You always take the year, minus it by the Goyish year, and you get the year, right? He's checking me. Okay. So the 1,955 years, the only reason it keeps on writing, Chachamim say, why we have no Beit HaMikdash? Why we have no... One reason. What is it? Sinat Chinam. Okay, I understand Sinat Chinam. Like one rabbi said, you're never going to cure Sinat Chinam. Why do you keep on calling it Sinat Chinam? You're not going to cure Sinat Chinam. People hate each other. You hurt the guy. Today, you can't tell a person Shah in the Beit Knesset. You tell him, that's it. Naflu Panav. Your ex, your Rasha, how dare you create... You can't say nothing to a person these days. Chas v'shalom, you tell him something. Chas v'shalom.
Banging on the wall.
You cannot. Yeah, bang on the wall, you still could do that. That we still could do it. It's crazy. You can't say we're also, by the way, we're also like that. We all need help. But you can't, but my point is, you can't fix Sinat Chinam. You can't fix it. So what's the pshat? Why do they keep on saying Sinat Chinam? Says the Ari. Sinat Chinam is the real Avera. Why? The true tikkun that we're doing, the true tikkun, is not the sin of Adam HaRishon, he says. That's been fixed already. You know how many times we fixed that? In the Chet HaEgel, we fixed it. In the first temple, we fixed it. You know how many times we fixed Chet Adam HaRishon already? What's left over there? The Ari says there's another Chet that's worse. When the two brothers killed each other, Caine and Hevel. The first Sinat Chinam.
That's what brothers say.
Over a girl, by the way. The first murder. Sinat Achim. Ashkenazi versus Faradi. Litai versus Hasidi. Yehudi versus my shul versus your shul. My campaign versus your campaign. My nosach versus your nosach. I never knew in my life, till last year I went to Ura the retreat for immense, I never knew there was such a thing where people go crazy over what kind of kippah you wear. In my life, I thought it was always nonsense. Kippah. What's the difference what kind of hat you wear? They do ask the rabbi. So Rabbi Caine Mintz gets up. He's the head of the Ura. Ask the rabbi. And the guy gets up. Who's going to ask the first question? One of the big Torah rabbis who gets up. And I'm thinking he's going to ask a kasha. And what was his question? You remember the question? What kind of hat did they wear in Har Sinai?
Yeah.
What? I don't know if he was saying as a joke or did he try to make a point, but just the question itself is crazy. It's crazy. What? Who cares what kind of kippah you wear? It's mamash da'onagi. It's crazy because of the kippah that you wear, or the color suit you wear, or the color socks you wear, or the kind of shoes you wear on Shabbat makes you who you are. By the way, we Sfaradim never believed in that. A guy could come inside of here. He could be a black ger. We'll accept it. It should be real. One time, this guy comes inside over here. He was crazy. He come over here. He thought it was. He thought Chas Shalom it was the guys across the street. We got a bit scared. Chas Shalom. We got him out afterwards.
What, the guy who's
No, that was a different guy. There was a lot of guys who came in here. Don't worry about it, okay? My point is, the biggest avera, says the Ari, is when brother kills a brother. When a brother kills a brother.
Because?
For nothing.
jealous.
You know, life is too short to hate somebody.
I love everybody.
Life is too short to hate somebody.
What?
I love
Urishaim arasha yikashlu bera'a. He stays in his hate. He stays. He lives 50, 60, 70, 80 years.
That's what kills him.
You know what they said? These therapists these days. They all go to therapy because what their parents did to them. My mother did to me when I was younger, my father. So one rabbi said something nice. Forgive them. Not for them. For yourself. Do yourself a favor. Let go of the hate in your heart. We're going to Chodesh Elul. Ani ledodi v'dodi li. What's the message of Chodesh Elul? We're never going to be religious. It's you can't keep all the... don't waste your time trying to be perfect. Because if you're going to do that, you're going to start hating everybody. How come he's not like me? How come he doesn't daven like me? How come he davens for 2 minutes? How come he davens for 6 minutes? How come he doesn't have kavanah? How come he says the bracha with this kind of accent? How come he says it like that? You're looking for... only Hashem is perfect. Why is Hashem perfect? As a side point, Avraham?
Yes.
Because he could handle everybody. That's perfection.
Go to bathroom.
When we look at the chet of Caine and Hevel, says the Ari in Shar Gilguli, most Talmidei Chachamim come from Caine and Hevel. There's 613 Shorshei Neshamot. Caine and Hevel were the two shoulders of Adam Harishon. They were the Etz Hadat of Adam Harishon. You have in your brain the corpus callosum. It combines the two parts of your hemispheres. They were the middle part of Adam Harishon. You know, if you open that part, it's like a tree in there. Hevel was the right shoulder of Adam Harishon, the right side of the brain. Caine was the left side of that middle, the dot. That he was. Caine was Givura, Hevel was Chesed. What element is Gvura? What element? Fire. Which element is Chesed? Water. When was the only Makkah in Egypt, the only Makkah where Paro said, God is the tzaddik? No. He didn't say that in Makkah Bechorot, he didn't say that in Dam, no. But in this Makkah, Hashem is saying, why? Inhale. Why inhale, he said? He finally saw the tikkun at the end has to be Caine and Hevel. The Chasadim and Gvurot have to work together. But what do we do instead? Chesed has to be separate. Gvura has to be separate. Everybody has to be separate. Hashem doesn't want the separateness. Which one of the 12 brothers was considered the symbol of Ahavat Yisrael? Out of all the 12 brothers. Huh? Yehuda? That's one brother. Yehuda Binyamin. That's a close second. What's Yosef and Binyamin? That's a close third.
Which two brothers were the closest?
Two brothers were considered Shimon and Levi.
No,
that was not. I can't believe you guys are not getting this. Yisachar and Zebulun. Yisachar and Zebulun. Why? The greatest connection in this world, but he doesn't support because he's a friar, because that's what he's made to do. And when he knows his purpose in life. Zvulun knew his purpose. Zvulun knew he's not meant for the books. Zvulun knew he was a businessman. He said, let me use my power to include my brother. But he's not a friar, so I'm going to make a business transaction with you. Half of your learning, when you're going to start learning, you have to say, L'shem yichud k'chav v'chishvinte, lichvod Zvulun, my brother. Don't think so. And because Yisachar said yes, almost all the Sanhedrin came from which tribe? Yisachar. Because they shared their Torah. That means, when you're a Talmid Chacham and you see a businessman, you're not supposed to be buzzed to him. He's an Am Haaretz. You're supposed to help him, and he's going to help you in return, and that's the true chesed. And that's why the Satan hit Yaakov in the leg. Why the leg?
Support of the Torah.
The support of the Torah, that true connection of Caine and Hevel, and that's why Yitzchak wanted to bless Esav with all the money. He loved Yaakov. What does he tell Yaakov at the end of the parasha? I'm giving you the blessing of Abraham. More than this you want? More, the blessing of Abraham. More than this, you can't have more than the blessing of Abraham. But he wanted to give Esav something special. What did he want to give him? He wanted to give him the power to rule materialistically in this world, to help Yaakov. When Yitzchak saw that he didn't want to help him, he said, Ma'ashem yatsa adavar, gam baruch yeh. He said, may he be blessed. If Hashem wanted at the end of the day, it means it has to be. Now, sitting in this room, there are many Talmidei Chachamim. Yes. Whoever learns Torah is a Talmid Chacham. There's a Gemara, I think Masechet Chulin says, what's a Talmid Chacham? Amar Rav Yehuda, a guy who knows how to tie a knot of tefillin. I'm serious. There's one opinion in the Gemara. There's the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, who's a Talmid Chacham? You ask him any halacha anywhere in the Torah, he'll know the answer. Okay, we know, we're out. We're done. But then there's another opinion. Who knows how to tie the knot of tefillin? And who knows how to sign his name? He knows how to write. Aleph Bet. He knows how to write Aleph Bet. He's a Talmid Chacham. How come the tying of the tefillin? So when you're in shul, you see a guy whose tefillin is big. You say, come Rebbe, let me help you out here. Let me give you a hint how to always make people love you. Always, no matter who. Even you don't like the guy. Whenever you meet him, call him with something honorific. He'll melt.
Tzaddik.
No, not tzaddik. It's overused already. When you say harav, he's not a Rav. You say harav, how are you? Don't say, now that I say that, I call you guys harav. Don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. Say harav, how are you? How are you doing today, Kvod Harav? Right away, the person feels good. He called me Kvod Harav. He called me. He gave me a little kavod. He did 2 mitzvot. You made him feel good. He did kiddush Hashem. You did. Even he's not. Give him some kavod. Make him feel good. And by the way, if you do that, I'm telling you, ahavat chinam is going to come to you like this. Unfortunately, people love kavod. We also love kavod. Don't think we're over here sitting, we're malachim with wings. We all want kavod. A little bit, but we try our best. Now, I want to tell you about Caine and Hevel. I'm going to tell you something crazy right now. This Caine and Hevel, the two brothers, what was Caine's sin? We all know his sin. He killed for the love of God. He was a rotzeach, right? By the way, David HaMelech comes from his neshama. He was a killer too. David is Caine. Caine is Rav Chaim Vital. We have Etz HaChaim today because of Rav Chaim Vital, right? Who else is from Caine? Eliyahu HaNavi. What did Eliyahu HaNavi do when he saw all the Nevi'ei HaBaal? Al Ha'esh. Slaughter them, right? Caine is Giborim, right? What about Hevel? Hevel, Moshe Rabbeinu. Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. Ha'ari HaKadosh. Big names over here we're talking about. Right? Rabbi Akiva's Caine. That's why Rabbi Akiva used to say, give me a Talmid, when he was not religious, give me a Talmid Chacham and I'm going to crush him like a donkey. Why did he say a donkey? Because when a donkey bites, he doesn't let go. He bites with the bone, everything. Akol. So he had a bit of a tina in him. Huh? Yes. You could tell. And you see his 24,000 students. You saw. They didn't have any, what we call ahava between them. There is a different, I don't want to get into it right now. But Hevel, I want to talk about Hevel right now, because there's a lot of Hevels walking around. What was Hevel's Avera? What was his sin? First of all, who said he sinned?
He didn't share with his brother.
Who said he sinned? Huh?
He didn't share his
I want to ask you a question. You know, that's a nice theory. But I want to ask you a question. Why did he make the korban next to his brother?
Make him jealous?
Don't put his soul down. You want to dead the guy all the way to the end. To make him jealous? Maybe he wanted to help his brother.
Why? You should verbalize
Rabbi Victor Miller says he wanted to show his brother that I'm copying you.
Well, you should have said that.
Okay, sometimes the younger brother doesn't know how to say
Action
it.
speaks louder than
Sometimes he was showing his brother because he's so, you know what,
Maybe his brother didn't understand.
you know, okay, let's not talk, let's get to the point, right? I'm telling you what Rabbi Victor Miller says. Caine was an inventor. He was an inventor. He invented the idea of a korban. He invented. He was all of his descendants were inventors. The first musical instruments, Caine's descendants. The first instruments to cut, Caine's. They were inventors, right? Hevel was not so much of an inventor, but he was a good perfectionist. When he saw somebody use something, he knew how to perfect it. So when he saw Caine bring the korban, he says, "Wow, it's a good idea. I want to do it too." And he did it in front of his brother to show his brother that I'm looking up to you. He wanted to join him together. Hevel was a tzaddik. Listen, Hevel is Moshe Rabbeinu. I mean, I think it's pretty good. Before Caine became a Talmid Chacham and a reincarnation, you know how many he had to pass? First, he had to be Yitro. You know what Yitro was? A priest of Avodah Zarah. All right? Who fixed Yitro? Moshe. Then he had to be Reuven. Reuven was also Yitro. It was also Caine. What did Reuven do? He lost everything. Kihuna, Bechora, Melucha, everything he lost. Right? He switched the bets. Once again, the Avera with the sisters. Right? So we see over here, Caine had a big tikkun going on over here. I want to get to the chet of Hevel. Why? It has to do with all of us. Ari says that Hevel was chayav mitah. He was deserving of death. That means if he wasn't chayav mitah, Hashem wouldn't allow Caine to do what he did.
So why did I ask him what you do with you, why you killed him?
Let's not get into the whole story. I don't know. I'm telling you what Ari HaKadosh says.
Okay.
Rabbeinu Ari says that Hevel haya chayav mitah ki hetzitz b'shchina. He looked at the divine presence. What does that mean? He looked at the divine presence. Anybody want to give a chidush? How do you look at a divine presence? What are you looking at? Letters? Light? What are you looking at over here? How do you look at a divine presence? That's a crazy question. How do you look at the Shekhinah? You can't look at the Shekhinah. And now I'm telling you something deeper now. Adam did the same Avera. He brought a korban too. He also was chayav mitah. Who tried to fix the two Averot of Hevel and Adam? Anybody want to take a hint? Don't answer because we did this together. Huh? Moshe? No, there were two people that were the Gilgul of Adam and Hevel. They were father and son also. Abraham and Yitzchak. Abraham was Adam and Yitzchak was Hevel. It says Vayelchu shenehem yachdav, and they both walked together. Why? In that kavanah, when you say that, right in your sidur, Adam and Hevel were walking together to fix the sin that they looked at the Shekhinah. If to write that, it's a kavanah in the Rasidur Rashash. When you say Vayelchu shenehem yachdav, you have to have that kavanah. Who fixed it at that time? Adam, Abraham. Why? It says he saw the aisle. He saw. Yitzchak didn't fix. That's why he became blind at the end. He got blind. But Caine, why did he become blind? He saw the Shekhinah again. But he fixed the different sin of the killing, of the Retzach, that Adam caused death to the world. He fixed. But the seeing the Shekhinah, he didn't fix. The Ari says because of that, listen, I'm saying something scary. It's a good thing the rabbi is not here. Because of what Hevel did, any person that comes from the shorish of Hevel is chayav mitah. Any Jew, any neshama, scary stuff, that comes from this shorish of Hevel, they're all chayav mitah. And their tikkun from the get-go. That means once they come to this world, they're born, they already have the din on them. And they're always going to meet a Caine, and they will always have an antagonist in their life, always Sheva Yipol Tzaddik Vekam, and the Rasha is waiting next to him. Now, death doesn't mean Chas v'Shalom Shchita. It could mean embarrassing you. It could mean a person who makes your life miserable. It could mean a bully. It could mean a person who's your enemy at work that you want to kill you. It could be, we say in Rosh Hashanah, if somebody embarrasses you, it's your chayav mitah. It's like you did mitah. right? So anybody who's from Short, now why is that? Says the Ari, Shehevel pagam be'alef yud shel Amonai. Hevel, when he looked at the Shekhinah, now the Ari's he's zooming into the Avera, he took the name of God, Amonai, which is the Shekhinah, and he took out the Aleph in the Yud, and he left it just with Dan. Dan is Din, judgment. That Aleph and Yud, put it together, and what do you get the word? A. What did God tell Caine? A Hevel achicha. Where is your the word? Where? He didn't say Efo. He said A. Why A? Because that Aleph Yud, that word Hevel was Chayav. So he was hinting to him that he was Chayav Mitah for what he did. But you shouldn't have killed him the way you did. You could have fixed him. You could have helped him.
He was already bound for death.
But he could not. How do you fix now? But first I want to do two things over here. I'm teaching you something crazy. That means if you're from Shorish Hevel, what's your main tikkun in your life? Shemirat Einayim. You should know that. Anybody who's from Shorish Hevel, his tikkun in his life is Shemirat Einayim.
I know which one.
More than anything.
I know if
Shemirat, wait a second. More than anything. I teach you secrets right now. When I first learned this, I was blowing up. My mind was blowing up.
With the right words.
So, but what does that mean? Shemirat Einayim. But he saw the Shekhinah. In this world, what represents the Shekhinah? Women. When you're a Hevel and you waste your Einayim, your Koach HaEinayim, and you put it on the Shekhinah, the representation of that in this world, the Hei Tata'ah, and it's not yours. It didn't belong to you. You're doing the same Chet of Hevel again. That's why pay attention. Pay attention. But now we know why we're guilty. That's the difference. Now we know why, and now we know how to change our whole thing. Because if you're a Hevel and you're looking, when you do it, right away you feel bad because you broke your purpose. If you're a Caine and you look, you're not going to feel the same. But if you're a Hevel and you look, it destroys you. Why? Because that's your Chet. How do you fix it? How do you fix it?
Go to Mikvah.
Oh, he's hitting on something. Now, if every Hevel is Chayav Mitah, by the way, I'm going to tell you now a secret right now. It says in the Shara Psukim. It says in Shara Psukim, I'm sorry, that God told Moshe before he passed away, make 3 cities of refuge. Why? Cities of refuge have to be inside of Israel. But Moshe had to do this mitzvah. Why? Moshe was Chayav Mitah. Because he was Hevel. Who did Moshe kill?
The Egyptian.
The Egyptian. But he killed him b'shogeg. That's why he had to make the cities of refuge. Says the Ari, the Samech Mem was always running after Moshe. And by making the cities of refuge, he was mitaka in that. Unbelievable stuff. I'm telling you. Wait, don't get too into it right now. It's not the point. Okay? You can always join on Shabbat and you can hear the Mincha Shiur. Alright? Oh yeah. Now, I want to tell you a tikkun. I'm not going to leave you guys without a tikkun. Alright? First of all, when you daven to Hashem, always have the kavanah to fix this Chet of Hevel shaya metzitz b'shchina. Number 1. Number 2, says the Ari, they have to die. Hevel. Why? When they die, they go inside the world called Binah. Now I want to know if you guys pay attention to the Shiurim. What in this world is the representation of the Sfira of Binah?
Wife.
No, that's the mother actually. Your wife is Malchut.
Binah is Torah, no?
Torah is Chokhmah. Kiner mitzvah v'Torah or. Tefillin.
Prayer.
Huh? There's one thing that's when you go inside this,
Mikvah.
the mikveh. When you go inside this, you went inside the belly of the Binah. And you're fixing the Chet of Hevel. You don't have to die.
Same thing they made mothers do.
Binah is a consciousness of Hashem. It's one of the consciousnesses that He created.
Yeah,
So instead of going and getting slaughtered, what instead you could do? Go inside the mikveh.
No.
Every day.
Every day.
Let's start with once a week.
And if you're
Right? Before Shabbat. If you're a chassid, do it in your own house with cold water. Right? By the way, when you dip in the cold water, it's more of Binah. Why? Because Binah is kerach hanora. It's also the secret of the cold ice. Okay? When you dip in the cold mikveh, it's a very big tikkun. But what tikkun? What's the kavanah you're supposed to have? When you go that by going inside a mikveh, if I'm from Shoresh Hevel, I'm fixing the chet of the mitah. I'm not chayav mitah anymore. And by now, there's a kavanah I could teach you guys too, but it's already getting late. We learned many things tonight. You guys, you're zoche, by the way. And your Sulat Hodaya, I revealed things that I would never reveal before. So, Sheva Yipol Tzaddik Vekam. Who's the Tzaddik? Hevel. He has to get up. Don't ever stay down. The Tzaddik falls in the Shmirat Einayim, he gets up again. Mikveh is the tikkun for that. The Aleph and Yud of Shem Amonai. Amonai is the Shekhinah. Look at your own Shekhinah. How one rabbi once told you? My wife, Rav Arush, remember what he said to you? It was a classic line. I'm not going to say the whole story right now. A person has to understand that if chas v'shalom, you're going to always have that ta'ava in your mind. I want to bo'el tzurot na'ot. As Rav Shimon Agas says, I only want beautiful things. Beauty. That beauty is going to bring you to chet Caine. You will kill over that beauty. You will kill because of that beauty. But if you look for a helper in your life, there's somebody who wants to help you be Jewish, help you learn Torah, a woman that's going to push you to go to Shiurei Torah, a woman that's going to say, be more religious, do more chumrot. Okay, so she's not Malkat Ayofi. Okay, she's not Malkat Yerushalayim. That's it, she's not Malkat Yerushalayim. Anyways, they're never. It's all fake. It's all fake anyways. Alright? It's all the chet of Caine and Hevel. Everything repeats. And if we fix the chet of Caine and Hevel, then we're going to fix the chet of Sinat Chinam. And then you're going to have a Beit HaMikdash. And then we're going to see all the tzaddikim. And we're all going to go together. Lebinyan, Berei, Ad, Chen Yasum, Amen.